Get out. My son deserves better than you, Martha shouted, pushing me out onto the cold porch at 2 a.m. The freezing air cut through my thin pajamas. You're 45. You can't give him children. He needs someone younger. I watched as she locked the door, her hands shaking with anger, or maybe satisfaction. Through the window, I saw my husband David, passed out on the couch, too drunk to notice. My name is Isabella. At 45, my mother-in-law just threw me out of my own home while my husband lay unconscious. But I didn't cry. I didn't beg. Instead, I walked to my car and made a call. Hey, Sophie, can I stay with you for a few days? Just some house issues. As I drove, I thought about the red flags I had ignored. The secret calls, Martha's sudden interest in our fertility struggles, the young woman at their church. David and I met when I was 40 and he was 38. It was a whirlwind romance. He didn't care about the age gap, but Martha did. No matter what I did, cooking her favorite meals, helping with her charities, it was never enough. When I arrived, Sophie was already waiting. Izzy, what happened? And don't lie. I sighed. Martha finally did it. She kicked me out. What? She can't do that. The house is in your name too. Actually, I said, settling onto her couch, it's only in my name. Sophie's jaw dropped. I opened my laptop, showing her documents, emails, bank statements, deeds. Years ago, David transferred everything to me to protect our assets during the lawsuit. Martha never knew. And that's not all. I continued pulling up another folder. Photos showed Martha with a young woman, Jessica, 28. They were shopping, having lunch, even visiting a fertility clinic. Martha's been preparing Jessica to replace me, I said. She promised her my house, my cars, everything, but none of it belongs to her. Sophie shook her head. So what's your plan? I smiled. First, sleep, then my lawyer. For 2 days, I stayed quiet. I ignored David's calls and Martha's texts. My lawyer worked fast. Your security footage proves Martha broke into your office, he said. With a conspiracy to steal your assets, we have a case. And the restraining order? I asked. Ready to be filed. Neither Martha nor Jessica will be allowed near your properties. On the third day, I made my move. First, the police removed Martha and Jessica from my house. Then they were served restraining orders. Finally, I changed the locks, this time with a high-tech security system. Later, David showed up, confused. Izzy, what's going on? Mom said you left me for another man. Then the police came. I slid a folder toward him. Your mother lied. She threw me out and tried to move your girlfriend in. Yes, I know about Jessica, the fertility clinic, everything. David's face went pale. Wait, the house, the cars, they're all in your name. Everything, I said. And now your mother is facing criminal charges. But she was just trying to help me, he mumbled. I laughed. Help? By destroying our marriage? By plotting with another woman? That's not help, David. That's manipulation. Just then, my phone buzzed. A message from Martha. Please, we need to talk. I didn't know. Please don't do this. I showed it to David. Your mother made her choice. Now, what's yours? David sat across from me, looking shocked and confused. He ran his hands through his graying hair. I never meant for this to happen, he said. Mom kept saying we needed a fresh start, that you were holding me back. And Jessica? I asked quietly. Was she part of this fresh start? David flinched. Nothing happened. Mom introduced us at church, kept inviting her over when you were working late. She said Jessica reminded her of herself when she was young. I turned my laptop toward him. Nothing happened. Then explained this. On a screen, Martha and Jessica were in my office, trying on my jewelry, looking through my files. They were in our house, David, planning their future with my things while you were passed out drunk. His face crumpled. I didn't know, I swear, Izzy. I took a deep breath. Your mother kicks me out at 2 a.m., moves in a younger woman, and you thought that was okay. Before he could answer, my phone buzzed again. More messages from Martha. I was just trying to protect my son. Please don't destroy our family. The police said I could go to jail. You wouldn't do that to David's mother, would you? I showed them to David. She still thinks she can manipulate her way out of this. David looked lost. What do you want me to do? I want you to make a choice, I said. Not your mother's, not Jessica's. Yours. The doorbell rang. I checked the security camera. Martha stood on the porch, her mascara running. Jessica stood behind her, looking scared. "They're breaking the restraining order," I said, picking up my phone. "Wait," David said, touching my hand. "Let me talk to them first." I studied his face. For the first time in months, he looked clear-headed. "5 minutes," I said. "And they stay outside." David stepped onto the porch and shut the door behind him. I watched through the security camera. Martha reached for him, but he stepped back. "How could you do this, Mom?" he asked. "You broke into our house. You went through Izzy's things." "I did it for you," Martha cried. "She's too old for you, David. She can't give you children. Jessica is young, fertile." "Stop it," David snapped. "You didn't do this for me. You did it for yourself. You never accepted my marriage, and now you've gone too far." Jessica spoke up. "David, your mom said you loved me, that you were just waiting for the right time to leave her." David shook his head. "I never said that. Mom, you told me Jessica was just a friend. But you were planning to ruin my marriage." Martha's face hardened. "She'll send me to jail." "Your own mother. How can you let her do this?" "You did this to yourself," David said quietly. "Breaking into our home, trying to steal from Izzy. Those were your choices." Martha's face fell. Jessica was already backing away, realizing she wasn't getting my house after all. "David, please," Martha begged. "Tell her to drop the charges." "No, Mom," he said firmly. "I won't ask her to do that. You need to leave. Now, before I call the police myself." I watched as they left. I felt relief, sadness, and something close to pride. David had finally stood up to his mother. When he came back inside, his eyes were red, but his shoulders were straight. "I'm so sorry, Izzy," he said. "I've been a fool." "Yes, you have," I said, but gently. "What happens now?" He sighed. "I need help. I've been drinking too much, letting Mom control me. I don't want to lose you, but I understand if it's too late." I sat beside him, close but not touching. "It's not too late, but things have to change. Your mother has to face the consequences. You need help for your drinking. And we need counseling. A lot of it." "Anything," he said. "I'll do anything to fix this." Just then, my phone buzzed again. A message from Martha. "You've turned my son against me. I will never forgive you for this." I showed it to David. He sighed. "She still doesn't get it. But I do. I choose you, Izzy. I choose us." As the security system beeped, showing Martha's car leaving the street, David squeezed my hand. I squeezed back. Sometimes everything has to fall apart before you can build something stronger. 6 months passed like seasons changing, each day bringing small but significant transformations. David kept his promise, attending AA meetings 3 times a week and counseling sessions twice a month. I went with him to couples therapy, where we slowly rebuilt the trust that had been fractured. Martha faced the consequences of her actions. The court showed leniency due to her age and David's plea, sentencing her to 2 years probation and mandatory counseling. She was also ordered to pay substantial restitution for the items she damaged in my office during her break-ins. Jessica disappeared from our lives completely. Last I heard, she'd moved to another state, perhaps finally understanding that she'd been a pawn in Martha's game. One crisp autumn evening, as David and I sat on our back porch watching the sunset, he turned to me with clear, sober eyes. "You know what I realized today? It's been exactly 6 months since that night." I nodded, sipping my tea. The memory of that cold midnight eviction no longer stung like it used to. "A lot has changed. Mom called again," he said quietly. "She wants to apologize in person. Says her counselor thinks it's important for her healing process." I considered this for a moment. "And what do you think?" "I think," he said slowly, "that for the first time in her life, she's actually doing the work. But I also think it's your decision. She hurt you more than anyone." His words warmed me more than the tea. 6 months ago, he would have pressured me to forgive and forget, to keep the peace. Now he understood the importance of boundaries. "We can meet at a neutral place," I suggested. "That little cafe downtown, perhaps." 2 days later, I sat across from Martha in the sunny cafe. She looked different, smaller somehow, less imposing. The perfectly coiffed hair and designer clothes were gone, replaced by a simple sweater and minimal makeup. "Thank you for agreeing to see me," she began, her hands wrapped tightly around her coffee cup. "My counselor wanted me to tell you how sorry I am, but that feels inadequate." "It is. I agreed calmly. She flinched but continued. I was wrong. Not just about what I did, but about everything. I thought I was protecting David, but I was only protecting my own ego. Seeing him so happy with someone who didn't need my guidance, it made me feel obsolete. You're his mother, Martha. You could never be obsolete unless you choose to be. Tears welled in her eyes. I chose wrong. I let my pride and prejudice blind me. Watching David these past months, he's happier, healthier. He finally grew into the man he was meant to be, and it happened when I stepped back, not when I tried to control everything. I stirred my tea thoughtfully. You know this doesn't fix everything, right? Trust has to be rebuilt. Boundaries have to be respected. I know, she nodded. I'm not asking for forgiveness yet. I'm just asking for a chance to prove I can change. As I drove home later, I thought about change and redemption. Martha's actions had nearly destroyed our family, but they'd also forced us to confront long-standing issues. David found sobriety and independence. I found my voice and strength. Even Martha was finally facing her own demons. David was waiting when I got home, trying not to look anxious. How did it go? I hung up my coat, considering my answer. Better than I expected. She's different, more genuine. Time will tell if it lasts. He pulled me into a hug, and I relaxed against him. Thank you, he whispered into my hair, for not giving up on us, for being stronger than all of us. That night, as we lay in bed, David already asleep beside me, I remembered standing in the cold 6 months ago, wondering if our marriage was over. Instead, it had been a beginning, the start of something stronger, more honest, more real. My phone lit up with a text from Martha. Thank you for today. I know I have a long way to go, but I'm trying. I hope someday you can trust me again. I typed back a simple response, one day at a time. It was what David always said at his AA meetings, and it felt right for this situation too. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen, one choice, one day, one moment at a time. As I drifted off to sleep, I thought about the ace I'd had up my sleeve that night, not just the legal documents or the surveillance footage, but the strength to stand up for myself, to demand better, to allow consequences to unfold naturally. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's giving people the space to face their own actions and grow from them. And sometimes, like a garden after a storm, what grows back is stronger than what was there before.